Things have changed since the first Lisbon agenda. What has changed? First of all, there was a financial and economic crisis, the heaviest crisis since the 30s. First element of difference with 2004-2005. Second, there is now, and certainly after Copenhagen, the awareness in all countries that things have changed also in the world. The balance of power has shifted, and Europe is more on the defensive now than it was a few years ago. Third, we face now huge budget deficits in each of our countries due to the economic crisis. And in order to limit the deficit, we need in each of our countries reforms. But we need also more economic growth, structural economic growth. And we know that after the financial and economic crisis, the potential, the structural economic growth will be not higher than 1% in the Union. So we can't afford, we can't pay on a sound basis our social model, our European way of life with this low economic growth, with this low structural economic growth. So at least three elements have changed since the former or the other Lisbon agenda. And I think that a lot of countries have now more that sense of urgency than they had 4 or 5 years ago. So I think it is the right moment. We have now a window of opportunity, and for a good strategy, and for a good governance. The concrete proposals for government or for governance, we'll discuss them at the European Council. The Spanish Prime Minister was very ambitious. I think he was right to be very ambitious. I myself, in complete agreement with him and with the President of the Commission, will submit proposals at the Council beginning of February. But we are, all the three of us, full of ambition because we feel that in a lot of countries the sense of urgency now is much bigger than it was a few years ago. On the other question, in times of crisis, who will answer the telephone? The world is more complicated than that. And even it is, as you told us, even if it is, then a president of the Council, a permanent president of the Council, the first thing he will do in crisis time is to convene the European Council, as President Sarkozy did in the financial crisis and other ones before. So we are not living in some kind of dictatorship. We are living in a democracy. There is now a permanent president of the Council. In periods of crisis, the first thing he will do is to convene the Council and to get, as soon as possible, a consensus. In other countries, there is, even in democracies, it is not one man or woman who decides. He has, for instance, also to take into account the opinion of the Parliament. When the President of the United States has a position on climate change, he has a position because he knows what lives in the Parliament. So in a democracy, it is not only one man. And I think we have now the institutions. The treaty is very clear on the repartition of the roles. I think that if we take a decision in crisis times, it is together that we take a decision.